Welcome, my dear members of Obidient movement. The journey we have started, just started. We have not reached the end of our journey. So because of that, there's nothing like complacency here. Let us maintain the pace that we have, started. So what I'm saying is that let us not be discouraged because of the abracadabra that happened in the presidential election. Our principal, Mr. Peter Obi, is still fighting his mandate through the courts, and we are aware that judicial powers of the federation is vested in the courts, according to Section 6 of the Nigerian Constitution as amended. Please, my good people, let us not be discouraged. If you have read history or you're a student of history, you will know that there is no development, there is no achievement that people don't make sacrifices. Some of us are Christians. We found out that when God called Moses to go and liberate his people, after they had suffered many years as slaves in the land of Egypt, when Moses approached his people first, he told them what God told him. What did the people say? Some people stood against him. The Israelites, they stood against him and told him that, look, forget about this thing. They were comfortable as slaves in the land of Egypt than going into a particular journey that they didn't know the outcome. Now, what happened? Even when Pharaoh finally released them, if you know about the story, you see that it was not an easy thing. Even when Pharaoh finally released them, on the way, while they were in the wilderness, if anything happened, they would still come and blame Moses. We told you initially, forget about this thing, but you refused, and so on. Now you see, Moses had a target. Moses persevered, and we all know the end of the story. Even the time of rebuilding of the temple, we saw what happened. Tobias and Sanballat. So in anything you do in life, you must have people who will be there to destroy it. Even Bible said it in the book of Isaiah, that I have created the potter, I've equally created the destroyer. So these things must be there, because I see a lot of comments, even people that call us Obidients, that is people that are idiots, following this obedient movement. Don't be discouraged. Now, this March 18th, 2023 election is important to us. It's important in two ways. First, we need to produce leaders, governors, state houses of assembly members that are going to work with our principal when our principal regains his mandate through the courts. Number two, in case our principal fails in the courts, which of course we will say God forbid, but in case it happens, we will have people that will be there in government that will now help our principal in 2027 election. Let me tell you something. What I need to tell you is that Bible said you cannot go to the house of a strong man without first tying him. We made a mistake in February 2025. We believed exactly what INEC told us, that the results would be uploaded in real time. Through the beavers, this one will happen. But we saw, even the blind, can see that what happened in that February presidential election. Imagine, the people for National Assembly, there was no problem. The porter, there was no problem. They were uploading in real time. But when it came to presidential election, beavers started malfunctioning, and so it's clear. It's just very clear. It's just very clear. So let us not be discouraged. Let me tell you one thing, in case you are not aware. First, you should realize that we have shaken the powers in this country. For Labour Party, despite all the intimidation to have won Lagos State, it sends a signal to you. For a Labour Party to have given a hope to a common ex-Okada rider in Kaduna State, that equally must have told you that really this journey, see, I am very happy. I am very happy in what we have achieved. Did you listen to the comment made by former Senate Minority Leader, that is Enyi Naya Baribe?
Well, what really happened really was that it was a nice election. It was going normally until we saw the Obidient wave in the southeast, and it almost consumed everybody. And it showed me the love that our people have for me, because I was able to survive that wave. Otherwise, I probably would not have been here today if not for the love of our people. And so I owe them a debt of gratitude.
You know, Enyi Naya Baribe made it clear. He said the tsunami, the Labour Party tsunami that was removing people in the south, that God saved him. So you see, the same people that initially called us social media warriors, that we are not going to go anywhere, the same people have now come to realize that power belongs to the people. Listen, you know, I always say this from time to time. What Obidient movement has done is we have shown these people that section 14, subsection 2A, which states that the sovereignty of the federation belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom, through the constitution, the government derives its powers and authority. We have shown them that, listen, carrying security, we are the ones that appointed you to be there. Gone are the days when people will come and, you know, just, you know, they did anything that they wanted. But this time, with the beavers and with all the INEC RF portal, you know, at this time we are showing them. You can see what is happening. Like in Lagos State, we saw viral videos where the governor, you know, was moving from one place to another, going to these churches and so on and so forth, trying to lure voters. At least we have shown them that, listen, this is no longer the time where you will just sit in your office and people will deliver you in the polling unit. So let us not be discouraged. March 18, 2023 is still another day. Let us work seriously. Let us be out to deliver our polling units. Let us be there to convince people. Yes, I knew in the last presidential election, I've interviewed a lot of people, and most of them were discouraged. Don't be discouraged. The fight just started. Just like I told you in the Bible. The Bible said you can't enter the house of a strong man without first tying him. Nigeria has been held by a cartel, you know, by a group of strong men. We have learned how they rigged the last election. This time, we are going to fight it to the core. Late arrival of materials, we will say no. If material arrive at your polling unit very late, please tell them, go back. Let's there be a rerun. Come back tomorrow. Because why they bring it, intentionally bring it late, is that when the people will finish casting their vote, it's already night. And when it is night, nobody will think of let's upload the results through the beavers to the INEC portal. Everybody will be rushing to go home because it's already night, having spent all day. That is one. Number two, we have known that this so-called collation center is where all the abracadabra do occur. At this time, I'm encouraging all the political parties, please trust the people you send to that collection center, because to me that collection center is like a place where that's the scenario I can create there. From what I saw, what I experienced, is like a government official coming with security to your house and tells you that he wants to sleep with your wife. Now, of course, you will think that person is mad. You know, you will try to resist it. The security man will hold you down. There's nothing you do. And if you want to talk, they will tell you it is criminal to fight men on uniform. That is the scenario. Now, at the end of the day, your wife, who should be your help, your evidence now, to go and your wife will be telling you to go to court. That's your wife that should be a victim. Is that the one telling you to go to court? Because if you go to collection center, in that place, you see security men at the gate. There's stand-looking security men at the gate with their weapon, everything. Now, but inside the collection center, a lot of the wishes of the people will be subverted. INEC during their training told the ad hoc staff not to go to the polling unit with their phones. Why? They should go with their phones, so that if there's anything happening, let them video it, let them snap it, and send to the public space. Let the people see. They should go with it, so that if there's anything wrong going on there, they can snap and send. They can, even if their life is being threatened, they can call for backup or security. So please, let us not be discouraged. Also, I want to talk about this scenario where people come to carry ballot boxes. Don't allow them. When in a polling unit, share yourself into 3 units. Yes, into 3 units. People cannot just come and stab you. Okay, let me talk about section 33, subsection 1 first. It gives every citizen the right to life. And it states there that every citizen has right to life, and nobody shall be deprived intentionally of his life, save in the execution of the sentence of a court, of which that person has been found guilty in Nigeria. So you cannot just come and kill somebody in a polling unit, somebody who has come there to exercise his franchise. So you must know that you have right to life. Everybody has right to life. And you have not been convicted of a criminal offense in Nigeria. Let's assume the sentence is hanging. That the only way your life can be taken is a situation where you have been sentenced in Nigeria with respect to a criminal offense of which you have been found guilty in Nigeria. Is there. If you go to section 33, subsection 2, there are conditions where the right to life will be removed. Why I am quoting that section 33, subsection 2 is important, because if somebody comes to kill you, the law permits you to counter that person. And in the process, if that person dies at the end of the day, provided you use a commensurate force, there's no issue. You are not sacrificial lamb. You don't just fold your hands and people will come and kill you. So you people can group yourself into 3 while they're exercising your franchise. Those people that come to collect the ballot boxes, divide yourself into 3. Let the other people bring out their phone and be videoing what is happening. Let the other people go and resist them. You can capture them. Let the other people rush to the nearest police station. Go and report. Even if those people are sent by the powers from above, before police will detain them and the powers order from above will come, election has come and gone, that polling unit will not be tampered. Please, we don't want the wishes of the people to be subverted. At this time, let us come. Let us not be like the proverbial science student who has 2 exams to write. First, the theory, then the second, the practical exam. And 2 of them will give 1 score, which will either give the student pass or fail. Now, this very student, having written the theory paper, was not happy because he didn't write well. He now refused to go and prepare for the practical, knowing that he can as well get extra mark in practical to boost the area he didn't write well in the theory, since the 2 parts of the exam will still give a particular score. Now, this student, having not written well in the theory, was disappointed, depressed, demoralized, and refused to prepare for the next exam. Then after 2 to 3 weeks, he was supposed to use to prepare. Then he refused. On the day of the practical, he performed worse than he did in the theory. When the result came out, he failed. He now failed. Now, when he failed, what happened? He went to check his result. Why did he fail? He now saw that he passed the theory and failed the practical. So how does this relate to our story? It relates to our story in this way. We are contesting the February 25th presidential election. Now, what if we win? And some of you, yes, I'm aware, some of you trekked long distance to go and cast your votes. Some of you were in the rain while the rain was falling. You were there just to cast your vote. Some of you passed through a lot of persecutions just to cast your vote. And at the end of the day, the wishes of the people were subverted. Don't be discouraged. We will still get our victory in court. So let us not be like that proverbial science student. Let us know that March 18th, 2023 election is still part of the presidential election, because just like I've told you, the two reasons why we must work. Let us show these people. Listen, let me tell you, I've said it before, that these people, the people that will be afraid, these people that are attacking us, imagine the one when I saw the picture of a core member in Enugu that was rigging the election. A core member, the federal government is paying you 33,000 naira. Maybe your PPA, place of primary assignment, is paying her, let's say, 10,000 naira. How much is a plate of food in Nigeria now? 500 naira. Now, if you eat 3 times a day, that is 1.5. Let us assume in a month we have 30 days. That's 45,000 naira. So if your PPA pays you 10,000 naira plus the NYC that pays you 33,000, that is 43,000. You see, the overall money you've gotten is not enough to even go ahead to settle your bill in terms of food. We are not talking about transport. We are not talking about your sanitary pad. We are not talking about any other thing. Your phone, buying anything. We are not talking about them. You see, and the same people that have impoverished you, these are the people we are going to rig the election for. It is very painful. But the Obedience, let me tell you, just like I was telling you about the history at the beginning of this, there's nothing. Even Nelson Mandela, after spending 27 years imprisonment, something happened. On 9th of February 1990, he was invited by the last apartheid president of South Africa. His name is Mr. F.W. de Klerk. When Mr. F.W. de Klerk came, Nelson Mandela was brought to the office of Mr. F.W. de Klerk. Mr. F.W. de Klerk told Nelson Mandela, who had been in prison for 27 years, told Nelson Mandela that, listen, I, Mr. F.W. de Klerk, would be releasing you tomorrow. Such thing. F.W. de Klerk, expected a joyous, moment. But I will shock you shortly. Do you know Nelson Mandela told Mr. F.W. de Klerk that this is a short notice? This, I don't know whether you understand it. He said in his book, Long Walk to Freedom, when he said that, F.W. de Klerk was confused because nobody in the world has seen where a jailer is begging a prisoner to go home. And the prisoner is saying, Nelson Mandela was saying, give me 1 week to release me from prison. F.W. de Klerk was saying, due to international pressure, that I'm going to release you tomorrow. You can see that scenario. That's important because in physics, we have what we call inertia. Inertia is unwillingness of a body at rest to move, or the one that is already moving to stop when external force is applied to it. That is why when you are sitting down and somebody calls you, please come and attend this errand for me, or so on and so on, you will not willingly stand up immediately. You may take some seconds or minutes before you stand up. Also, if you're in a moving car and the driver suddenly applies the brake, you see that you jack forward. That is inertia of motion. What is he trying to tell us? People always resist change. Nelson Mandela had been in prison for 27 years and some months. And for you to suddenly change that pattern, it will be difficult. That is what is happening in Nigeria. Many people were born, they never knew, as Section 14, Subsection 2B said, that the welfare and security of the people will be the primary, not the secondary, primary duty of the government. What it means is that, you see what we call primary duty. Primary, if you employ a cleaner, his primary duty is to clean your house. Now, secondarily, maybe you have a parcel somewhere, you say, please come and collect my parcel for me, or come and buy a recharge card for me, or come and call this person for me. That is the secondary duty. The primary duty is cleaning services. So if that person fails in the cleaning service, you say the person has failed. Before us, Nigeria is failing. The government is failing. Because the constitution is clear. It says in Section 14, Subsection 2B, that the welfare and the security of the people will be the primary duty of the government. Primary. And that primary duty Today, if you open news, you'll hear 50 people slaughtered in Benue community. This one, you hear this one. Nobody pays attention to that again because we have developed thick skin about it. And let me tell you something, which is very important. Some people never knew that you could be in a place where the light could be steady. They never experienced it since they were born. That's what late Chinua Achebe said in his book. There was a country that the people that have been subjected to a very long time of military rule will not know their rights. They don't know. People, you go to our tertiary hospitals, you see where people with different ailments, they don't have money. There is no money to take care of them. There's no money. I will narrate 2 stories, after which I will end this video. When I started, there was a time my church organized a medical outreach. We went to one community. I will not call the community, but it's a riverine community. Do you know, when we went there, we saw, in the course of our listening, there was this woman that her case was very remarkable. This woman had blood pressure of 260 over 180. For those of you in the medical field, you should know this is very severe. It's a critical condition. Now we asked this woman, were we aware? The woman said yes. Then what have you been doing? This woman couldn't give much information. We said, do you know what? Thank God there's a government hospital in that community. Please, the next day, that's the next month, that's the next working day, please go there and let them, but we are going to do some things now, but you are going to go there, let them take care of you. The woman said, nobody comes to that place. I want you to get that information. These are people paid by the state government, and these people, they are not coming to work because it's a rural area, but people are posted there. Nothing is there, but they are collecting their salaries. This is what Obidient movement is against. Now, see that woman. Now, we started asking that woman, what of your children? Let's know maybe if the children are outside the community, we can call them and tell them, please take your mother from this community. Let your mother be so place, so that your mother could access medical services. That woman said the only child she had was killed by the military. We say, what happened? He said it was involved in bunkering. That I will talk about it later on. This is somebody that oil exploration in her region had destroyed every agricultural activity. Government does not care about her. Now, yes, the son, maybe out of frustration, went into oil bunkering and was killed. We will talk about it later. We will talk about that later. Now, that is the first. Another experience was when my church organized. In fact, after this one, I said, when they organize medical outreach, I said, I won't go. I will not go. There are many ways to serve God. Because when you go and interact with people, when you come back in the night, you will not sleep. But this thing is happening in a country where what is the average cost or average salary of a National Assembly member, the House of Rep member, and the Senate? And this is what Obi stands for. That is what Obi stands for. That incident I told you that made me, I said, over my dead body, I will not attend. Simple. We met another man. This man, the blood pressure was very high. Now, we need to counsel him. We needed to talk with him, and other stuff. In the process, as he said, he knew he was hypertensive. But this thing became worse when the daughter was kidnapped. We said, which one is your doctor? We asked, where was his daughter? He said the daughter had been released after he sold some of his property, then also collected money from people, borrowed money. He had been repairing it. That was not the issue. That wasn't his issue. That was not why the blood pressure was rising. That anytime they thought of what those idiots, the kidnappers, were doing with his beautiful daughter in captivity while he was running around for the money, to release her. Anytime that thought came up, he would, that is, his condition would worsen. We talked to him. Wally recommended him to see a psychiatrist and possibly a psychologist. This is in a country where the Constitution says in section 14 subsection 2b that the welfare and security of the people is the primary responsibility of the government. This is what Obidient is fighting for. So don't be discouraged. There are people, the same people that withstood Moses, there are still people there in our community. The same people that withstood the rebuilding of the temple, Tobias and Sanballat, they are still there. So don't be discouraged. Let us come out en masse this March 18, 2023. Let us vote for all Labour Party candidates. Thank you.
Preview.
Remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like. Thank you.